The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para-X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural. Magic. Ghosts. UFOs. Bigfoot. Extraterrestrial. Psychic energy.
The Calling.
And welcome, everybody. Another beautifully freezing Minnesota. It's terrible. It's right now, the exact degrees here is 46 degrees in Minnesota in September. This is nuts. This is just no fun. I am appalled and very upset about it, but there's no one I can call, I guess. I don't know. Kim, is there anybody we can call about this stuff?
No.
No?
This is ridiculous. Like, it was like 80-something not too long ago. What was it, Saturday or Sunday? And could you believe that the weather is totally done a flip? It's not even giving us prepare. You know what I mean? So
Right. You know, I really think ever since we got Willow as a co-host, things have gone to crap.
Whatever.
Crap. Don't tell her I said that. Hi, Willow. How are you,
Hi,
honey?
yeah, I'm good. I'm warm. I'm really warm. I'm very warm. It was like 91 today. Welcome to, high humidity. Actually, though, no. The weather is absolutely gorgeous here now. The humidity went down, so
nice.
It's nice. It's warm, but not humid.
Nice.
That's one thing. It's not humid here. Right, Kimmy?
Yeah, it's not
It's
humid.
definitely not humid. No. And, a little bit ago, I looked outside and I was looking at my roommate's. She's got a little cacti. What is it, cactus or cacti?
Cactus. I'd say cactus.
Cactus.
Depends how many you have.
Right.
There's one in there.
Then it's cactus.
And when is it cacti?
Multiples.
Oh, really? Because you would think cacti is one. And
Jerry's face.
Is
now
many.
I just twisted your whole world up, Jerry.
See, she did do this with the weather in Minnesota. You can't tell me she didn't.
Hey, I can work weather. Why not?
You
Didn't
witch.
I pushed the hey, you're right. At least I work the weather and I'm warm and you're cold.
What a horrible person.
Wait, let me cackle. How's that?
Well, that was a great show. Thank you, folks, and we'll see you all next week. Just kidding. Okay, so tonight we have three ladies from the Cape that are on tonight, and I'm very excited to have them on. Three girls, one Cape. That's because they are all three heroes, and everybody's together as one, and so they got that big old Wonder Woman cape, and they're just awesome. So let's say hello to Rachel and to Mara and to V.
Hello.
Well, at least you guys said hello. I mean, I figured that, like Willow and what is the other girl's name on my show? Kimberly.
No, it's Wimberly.
Wimberly, that's right. I
remember?
forgot. I used to call you that. For some reason, it just rolled off the tongue one night, and that's when I was demented, though. I don't think I'm demented anymore, am I?
Yes.
Let's put to a vote in the chat room. Is Jerry still demented? So let's watch him just rock it out here. So ladies, so this is cool. I'm so glad that you guys, you ladies came on the show. And So just out of curiosity, let's go one by one so we don't have everybody talking over each other. Rachel, how did you get started in the paranormal type of realm that we're all in?
Well, I definitely had an early love for horror thanks to my father, and my favorite movie at the age of 3 being Jaws. So there's not many things that would scare me, and then I got into the paranormal right around that 4th to 5th grade area, and Vanessa and I actually used to like go out in the woods, and we used to go ghost hunting, and I mean we still to this day will go ghost hunting in different locations. Now we actually have like tools before we just go set off into the woods with our cell phones and like whatever we had, we were like, oh, we can make this out of this old speaker, and like we're trying to make like a speaker box or so something that we didn't have that we were just trying to make ourselves look more official with.
Gotcha. Now, has there been something that you've run across and you're like, I don't think I ever want to do that again?
I mean, not particularly. I've definitely been to some places where I didn't get like some really great vibes, but I also like to push boundaries, including my own. So if I get like weird vibes, or unless it's like something like terrible, but I've never had that happen where it's like, I should never go back here ever again.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so Mara, what about you? How did you get into this, and how did you find the motley three of you?
Well, me, Rachel, and I came from the same mister. We're sisters.
Yes.
And I knew V through Rachel because they've grown up together and we hung out. And Rachel and I have a similar forte, as in how we both got intrigued, invested in the paranormal. I grew up intrigued by horror, but I didn't really get into it until I was 15 because I was too scared. And my film was David Cronenberg's The Fly. Do you guys remember that movie?
What's that? I'm sorry, I missed the last part.
Oh, sorry. David Cronenberg's The Fly. That's like the movie that kind of got me into the whole horror thing. I'm not sure if you guys seen it or.
I don't know. Did you ladies see it, Kimberly? Willow?
I think so.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, it was a creepy movie.
Yeah.
I don't recall if I seen it. What is it called again?
The Fly.
The Fly.
Oh, The Fly with Jeff Blondgren.
Yes.
The new one or the real old one?
Both of them were pretty creepy, I thought.
They were
80s
gross.
One, yeah. So I didn't really go with Rachel whenever she ventured out, just because I don't have asthma, so you can't go. But so I kind of stayed by the sidelines, and but I've always been interested by the paranormal because Rachel's had experiences, our mother has had experiences, and then Rachel, when she was getting this podcast started, she asked me if I wanted to come on because she knew I was interested, but she also knew that I had an analytical eye to things, so she thought I'd be like a good contrast. And I was like, yeah, no, definitely. So that's kind of how I ended up on here. And my sister Grace's.
Oh, okay. Okay. What about you, V?
Don't forget you're on mute.
Well, we still can't hear you too well there, hon.
How about now?
A little bit louder. Sorry.
Better now?
Just yell more.
How's that?
There you go. That's better.
Good. Okay. Well, I was always into, paranormal things. I'd watch a lot of X-Files and The Outer Limits, Unsolved Mysteries. I loved all that stuff, all the time. And luckily I became friends with this beautiful dame down here, Rachel. and me and her could be weird together and embrace our weirdness together. And we'd be like, why don't we go ghost hunting? Or, hey, like, why don't we see what happens with this Ouija board, which I do not recommend for anybody. And I do not recommend that. I'm not going to condone it.
I agree with you.
But if you do, make sure you write everything down, then ask those same questions 10 minutes later.
Why? What happens?
Because it's just to reassure that if you're going to communicate and be looking for something specific, ask the same thing a few minutes later. If you're getting the same questions, then you're getting what you're looking for. Like if you get the same answers. But if you don't, you might want to say goodbye and call it a day. Sage, everything that you possibly can.
Salt
Make
it,
sure.
bind it, burn it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like, seal those gates while you can. But me and her would go on a lot of tales, and I remember I would tell her about, like, stories. We'd share stories about what we had experienced that we were like, I don't know, like, it's kind of weird, and there's no other explanation for it. So we would start doing the same thing and start, like, hearing about other people's stories, going to check out, like, all these different places on the Cape, because the Cape is pretty haunted. And, we tried to figure out everything we possibly could, from going to town hall, looking up all the records that we possibly could, trying to find out, like, exact locations and areas and what people are claiming that they've experienced there, seeing if we're encountering anything of the similar sort. And ruling out every other possibility that we possibly could to determine whether, it's fact or fiction.
Right. Right. Kimberly, you got questions for the ladies?
So what gets you, what's more interesting? I mean, is it like the paranormal, cryptids, UFOs? What's more intriguing to you guys, or is everybody different?
I would probably say that we all have our own strengths. I know for a fact that as far as myself, I am kind of like all over the place because I like to dip my feet in a little bit of everything. Because I think that, if we, are only from an angle, you're not getting the whole angle. So it's better to have, your feet in a couple of different, pools. So that way you can kind of be able to see what's happening, in all these different areas, whether it's cryptozoology or aliens or the paranormal or, conspiracy theories, etc.
Okay.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
And Willow?
Well, do any of you have any kind of sensitivity to feeling the spirits when you go into a place, or have you had any experiences where you just knew a place was haunted before you went in, just kind of sensed it?
Yeah, I'm going to let Vanessa take this one.
Actually, yeah, I'd like to actually talk about
Vanessa, your mic. It must be on. Is your mic stuck? Okay, hold on, guys. Got a little tech. There we go. Yep.
There we go. Okay. So there's this place that we would go to a lot, and it's called BB Woods. It's located in Falmouth, on the Cape, and we would go there quite a bit. It was a place that we had a lot of experiences with, and going to that location, there's a lot of native spirits there. So when you're walking through there, you definitely feel like there's something watching you within the trees. But it's more of like making sure that you're being respectful. You can definitely sense that in there. And I feel like there's also a lost child in there from the BB family, and I'm working really hard to try to figure out evidence of this child because I think it belonged to one of the BB family members, and I've been wanting to find it because I I encountered it. Like I felt it touching me. It's felt like a small child touching the small of my back. And and as when we were all leaving after a night of checking things out, and I just remember I was making sure that I was like, you can't follow me here. You can't follow me from this place. But we'll come back and we'll talk to you another time. So it's like we've definitely encountered places where it's definitely stronger presence.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have other friends that we would bring on expeditures that are also somewhat very sensitive to those types of energies. But we definitely have been able to have a sense of knowing specifically, especially in that area of the Cape, BB Woods. So always be very respectful when you're walking through there because there's a lot of unknown souls in those woods.
Gotcha. Now, have you had your, what do you call it? Oh my God moment when you've been someplace and, you ran into something that was like, that kept you always going back or, opened up your eyes a little bit more to the belief of the supernatural, paranormal? And let's go with V on that. Oh, there goes. There you go.
Yeah. I would have to say one of the times when I went with Rachel we were in the Bridgewater Triangle.
What's that?
The Bridgewater Triangle, it's this area of Massachusetts that is known for a lot of paranormal activity. And we were in the Hockomock Swamp area after she had been there previously and called me in a panic. Actually, Rachel, do you care to share your story about when you were there with Stephanie?
Yeah, I mean, I can. Well, it was with a group of our friends, and we had went out there, and we decided that we were going to walk through the woods, and it started to narrow, a lot. And I was like, all right, I'm kind of freaked out. We had, heard a bunch of movement in the woods and stuff like that. We found a piece of fur in the middle of the path, which was super creepy to me because I was like, oh, great, there's, wild animals on this path that we're walking right now. And like, we're, the girls that I was with, they were much smaller than me. So I was like, oh, great. So like, it was just me and a bunch of girls and like one, person. So I'm going to have to defend them. And so as we're, we get to a certain point, all right, I'm turning back. I don't care about anybody else. We're leaving right now. There's no ands and ifs about it. And as we were walking out, this rock came out of nowhere and landed in the middle of the path that we were walking on. And I have never run so fast in my entire life. I lost my flip-flops, and I called Vanessa, and I was like, if you get this and I don't call you back, it's because I'm dead. I was so terrified that, like, now I'm laughing about it, but I was at that point just so terrified by what had happened that And even like that night, I ended up not sleeping because it was like about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I got home and crawled into bed with my mother, and I'm like, 19 years old at this point. So my mom really knew something was wrong. She's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I don't want to talk about it. I just want to lay in bed with you. I can't go to sleep." My heart just was pounding for what felt like days, but it was only a couple hours. And still to this day, everyone that I was with said nobody threw anything in the path, and I was behind anybody, so I would have seen somebody trying to arc that up to where it landed in the path. So it definitely was one of those moments that just really freaked us out, or really freaked me out at least. And I was like, maybe there's something a little bit more to this.
Kimberly?
So who is the one that likes the murder type of things? That type of stuff? Because I see like Ted Bundy on here. I see Bonnie and Clyde. I see all kinds of... That would be you?
Yeah. Yep.
Whose phone? Kimberly.
So what intrigues you about it? Oh, you can't hear.
We lost you, V.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
So I've always been like, what compels these guys to do these things? And I got more into them when I was in college and I was taking abnormal psychology.
Oh, yep.
Because then I was analyzing all of them like that.
Exactly.
I was just like going back, and I'm like, all right, so let me look at this. Okay. And I was fascinated by them. And more recently too, ever since we've been doing this podcast, it's encouraged me to dip a little bit more into some serial killers, some that I was not familiar with, and especially when we were just recently covering things of New England, it gave me a chance to find out a little bit more about ones that were from Massachusetts, ones from Maine, ones from the whole New England area.
Right.
And as of right now, like we recently... we had done a show at the location of Pine Grove Cemetery, which is where Tony Costa. Yep. Okay. If anybody isn't familiar with Tony Costa, also known as Chop Shop Tony, Cape Casanova, he's, oh God, sick. It's just sickening. I'm still trying to get in touch with that lady who was writing a book who used to be babysat by him.
Yeah.
Wow.
We found out while we were there because we were checking some things out. Fortunately, we weren't able to get together some of the audio from the EVPs that we took while we were there with the speaker box, which I think it's interesting. And theory of mine on him, because I've been researching him a lot more, been hearing a lot more about him. I first got a little tidbit about him when I was investigating the Lady of the Dunes, which I'll talk about another time. But I don't think that he necessarily worked alone, as many think. And I think also, that because there's no doubt in my mind, he was very sick, and he wanted to do the things that he wanted to do, but I don't think he would have done them if he wasn't encouraged, just because of the amount of sympathy he had for his victims. And that's something that I do not find in a lot of serial killers that I've been researching. I do not find a single morsel of remorse for anything that they did, but yet he went off and killed himself and felt so guilty about what he did. So that tells me something right there, and I'm not the only person. I've read other theories that people think that quite possibly somebody else was working with him. And I think that's possible. And I think that person, maybe they just encountered each other somewhere, realize that they're both kind of into the same sick, demented things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that person maybe was unable to do it anymore.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
they had some type of a handicap or whatever. But they had this fit young man,
Mm-hmm.
who was able to charm these ladies, and he was able to get inside his head enough.
Right.
So I think that that's quite possibly what happened there on that
And
situation.
one more question. And what is it, the capacity of how he killed his victims? Do you think that there could have been?
Well, I think because he, was known for necrophilia and dismemberment,
Yep.
which he did do.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. The guy is brutal, and I think that somebody was telling him to do those things to be able to disperse the body.
Okay.
And since the thing about like Pine Grove Cemetery too is that he also had he was growing marijuana in the woods next to the area. And the tomb is still there to this day, where he did a lot of the terrible, horrific things to these women. But he used some of their body parts in that garden.
Oh my gosh.
That's what he's actually known for.
That's why he's Chop Shop Tony, because he was taking them
Wow.
apart, and he was doing horrific things to these women.
Yeah.
And, I think it's interesting how he admitted to 7, was tried for 3, committed for 2. But when we went there and Mara had asked how many were in there, and on our audio, we got a very clear, resounding 8.
Wow.
Wow.
That's pretty
interesting.
cool.
Yeah. First, it actually said, she was like, how many people are in here with us? And at first it said 3, and then it goes from 3 to 8. And it's very prominent, because at first we're all like, oh, did you hear it say 3? And then all of a sudden it went 8 right after. And it was it's crazy, because they think that it could have been more people.
Right.
But at the same time, he also, had wrote like a memoir. Said he had done it with this second person, but they never could find who the second person is. So that's where a lot of this information of the second person, but it also came out after the fact that he was doing a lot of acid. So who knows whether it was this second person, or it was kind of like where Jeffrey Dahmer, he wouldn't kill unless he was, pretty much drunk, like, because he couldn't do it unless he had that, the liquid courage, or that something in him that brought him to that dark place where he could just, act out the whatever fantasies that he was having. So, who knows? But there's still more and more information that's coming out on him now that people are, because it's definitely more of like a, not necessarily like a serial killer, like, okay, to be a serial killer type of thing, or, praising them, but people are just so interested in why these people do what they do.
Right.
Now, I'm sorry, Willow, I'm taking over here for a second. Commercial's coming. The commercial's coming up in just a minute or two. Have you ladies done any research on what they call the Highway of Tears?
Yes.
Yep, up in Canada, the highway.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And that was it's the one with the they think that it was like a trucker or something that was that the one that was like somebody was murdering there's all these unsolved murders down this area. I'm not sure if that's what it is or not, but I think that I read something about that actually, like very recently, more so on one of the true crime groups. People post stuff all the time, that's just crazy. You look at that and you're like, how is this like unsolved? Or like, how are these people like not behind bars?
Right.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, they still haven't caught him, and it's been almost 2,000, mostly girls missing. Yeah, it's up in Canada, and it's I can't remember how long it is. The highway is.
I know of the story, but I didn't know that many people. That's
It's
crazy.
been going on for over 20 years. It's crazy.
Is that the one that randomly throws them in like ditches or old farms and stuff like that, their bodies?
No. This one here, pretty much, if the person, the girl is gone, she's gone. Very rarely do they find a body.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to go on break and we're going to come back and we're going to get more into the paranormal in just 2 or 3 minutes. So everybody hang tight.
Geek ladies Sean and Victoria from Exploring the Paranormal with Geeks Paranormal are at it again with another amazing season full of paranormal celebrity interviews with amazing guests and stories of haunted locations and so much more. You will hear it first on Para X. Tune in Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Central. You will not be disappointed.
Sure, you're wondering why you received this tape from a random stranger.
What was that?
What?
I heard something.
Like what?
Like a gunshot.
But is it really random? Am I really a stranger? Or are we connected in some way to a web of lies and deceit? Possibly murder?
I'm sorry about our argument the other day. I'd like to make it up to you. In your office. I've been such a bad girl. I need you to correct me.
Okay. I'll unlock the door.
Hello, Ben! How are ya?
You see, I hear things, see things. I know everything. To protect myself, I need these stories to be told.
Blood Noir is a crime and horror anthology show. Stories about people caught in desperate times and only have one way out.
And this is Jerry with The Calling, and we're back. So, like, if you're listening to the show and everything, and you're like, I didn't catch the first half, well, guess what? Tomorrow it'll be on our website. Just go to www.thecallingradioshow.com and pick your person, because you got all sorts of different shows there. Usually the latest one is the last one on the bottom. I know everybody's like, can't you make that the first one? Nope, because you got to see all the shows that we had, because there may be ones that you missed, and you're like, dang, I should have listened to that one. Well, you can. Also, too, we put all of our shows on YouTube, The Calling Radio Show. Check it out. And while you're there, subscribe and hit the ding, hit the bell, and it'll notify you once we put a show in there. Also, too, again, Para X. Oh, my God, people. They've got such great shows around here. New ones that just started out, too. You got The Gathering on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You also have Geeks Paranormal, which is right after our show. So stick around for that. And, I mean, every day there's always something really good on. So check it all out. There's too much to talk about. We need time for our show, too, you know. So anyway, so Willow, what we got?
Well, I know you want me to get off the subject of serial killers, but I got a question. My turn.
It's the we here for it.
All right. So I've been watching. Okay. So I happen to be a serial killer thing myself. You know, I really love them. So anyway, being married to one time, you know, sociopath makes you kind of curious. So anyway, right. But you're right, V, about them not having remorse normally, because a sociopath has no way to have emotion. So there's no way to have remorse. So that does make it very clear that there has to be somebody else working with this person. Just has to be. But my real question is about Jack the Ripper and H.H. Holmes. Were they the same person? What's your opinion?
I'm going to say no. This is Rachel with my official statement saying H.H. Holmes and Jack the Ripper aren't the same person. Laura, what do you think?
I concur.
What about Evie?
I'm going to say that I don't think they were the same either. Every time. I'm going to say that I don't think they're the same person either. I haven't, I'm so glad that she asked this question.
I know, this is a big question.
Yeah. But, I agree. I don't think that they're the same. We should talk about this sometime on ours.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I mean, we did do Lizzie Borden,
right?
Which she totally did it. She's guilty.
No, I disagree with that. She was proven innocent in a court of law, so she therefore is innocent. And everyone who says she isn't, you have to trust the justice system, or else, what is it for?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I trust the justice system on that. I'm pretty sure that she did it. I mean, she was. Look at her, for God's sake. She looks like she was doing it. God, that hair.
But I have to chime in. Okay, so a lot of the psychics, though, that have gone in, and even the psychic kids went into the house, unknowing that it was the Lizzie Borden house.
Yep.
And guess what? They said it was a man that did the murders.
I agree.
I want to say that, too.
Look at Lizzie Borden. She looks like a man in a dress.
I think she knew. I know she knows.
I think that's offensive to Lizzie Borden.
I think she did it. I think she did it because it's like, if you really wanted to run away from, if it was so traumatizing, personally, if you really loved that family that much and you really couldn't deal, I'm pretty sure you'd move out of town. Mm-hmm. You'd go and stay in New York with your rich friends that you were partying with the whole entire time afterwards. Not having big fancy mansion parties in the same town.
Right.
Rubbing it in everybody's faces like, yeah, I got away with murder. Nobody's going to mess with me because I did that.
Right. But guess what? Nobody messed with her. It worked. Everybody was scared. People are still scared. Her house in Fall River is literally for sale because people are like, it was haunted. And you're like, but is it? Is her house, her Maplecroft mansion, haunted? Because I feel like it probably isn't.
Unless it's a drunk Lizzie Borden having a great time. Because nobody's going to bother her because she's like, nobody's going to mess with me because I killed my whole entire family and they don't want to get on my bad side.
Oh, my God. Okay, Kimberly.
I don't know. That's just funny. I love that you guys have this enthusiasm. So what made you guys start this podcast? What made you guys say, okay, we're going to do this because we're really into this? And how long ago was this?
So it was pretty recent. It was this year.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, it was at the end of last year, right? But I came to Vanessa and I was like, we've been talking about how we're going to do a YouTube show or some type of show because her and I have been best friends. I mean, to the point where people, when they don't used to not see us together, they used to be like, where's the other one? Like, we were always together. So we always joked around about how we needed to have a TV show just because we think we're hilarious. So then I was like, you know what? let's just do a podcast. We're living far enough apart where she's in Massachusetts, I'm in New Hampshire.
Yep.
You know, it's hard for us to try and do something on like YouTube because there's so many like guidelines, and her and I are very, uncensorable. But for you guys, obviously, we're behaving ourselves. So
we warned them ahead of time. No swearing.
Yeah, we did. Oh my gosh.
So now, Mara.
Yes.
Did they ever let you talk?
Only sometimes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm usually quiet one, but I let them usually do the talking just because I like to hear them I like to listen and then kind of come up with my own comment and,
So how many times do you listen to them, Mara? Then you're like, that didn't happen?
Probably 90% times.
What was that? I'm sorry.
It's probably 90% of the time, I'd say.
The truth has come out.
All right, guys. So this show tonight is fraudulent.
Right. Mara
I'm
seems
kidding.
like she's the one that's the in between. Once they're like at each other, she's like, "Okay, guys, calm down now." She seems like the
That's the bad thing is that Vanessa and I sometimes get each other wound up. So like I'll be like, "Oh, we're gonna go do this," and she's like, "Yeah." Realistically, how are we doing this? Because you can't just do this. It's because Vanessa and I are both Gemini, so we're just like, yeah, we're doing it. And then Mara's like,
I'm in my little Pisces corner here, like, yeah, guys, like.
Okay, so Mara, just out of curiosity, what do you think of like Bigfoot? Say, we'll talk about Bigfoot.
I mean, it could be real. I haven't, to be fair, I haven't researched as much as Rachel or Vanessa. Well, Rachel has. I know Vanessa's done some research about the topic, and I mean, it's kind of like one of those things that I feel like it could be real, but just kind of like,
where's the evidence?
Well, sort of that, and just,
What about like UFOs or aliens?
I believe in UFOs and aliens because, I mean, the belief that we're the only life forms out here, in this huge universe is kind of ridiculous. So I definitely believe in that. And also that evidence came out a month or so ago with the UFO sightings, the government trying to distract us. Like, here you go, like, you feed on this, and then, we'll try to divert.
Well, here's a bit of information. Kimberly is part of Squatchers. It's an all-female Bigfoot team here in Minnesota. They are the number one team in Minnesota. They actually do go out there. Bug bites, rattlesnakes, ticks. Ticks is one that scares you the most.
And ticks.
But it was interesting. One time the ladies were doing a thing at Bigfoot Days in Reamer, Minnesota. Mm-hmm. I drove up there to visit them because they were doing what they call a Squatch chat. And Steph, who is the leader of the team, asked me to let's go out for dinner. So I was going to go to meet him at a bar. I'm from northern Minnesota. So as I was driving through, remembering when I was a kid with my grandfather going through there, all the different, with now our rivers, but they were lakes back in the day. It's just, weird how it's done. Anyway, I thought at first I thought it was a moose trying to get up from the ground. And to be honest, being up in Bemidji, that's, pretty much the furthest way up north. Northern Minnesota. I sat there and watched it and everything, and then all of a sudden it got up on two legs, and the first thing I thought of was bear, but it didn't have the bulbous butt and the short legs, long body like a bear would have. And then it turned and started walking. And then I noticed it was like 8 or 9 feet tall. It was quite large, and it was intelligent. Now, a lot of people ask me, how do you know it was intelligent? It looked towards the sun and actually put its hand up to keep the sun out of its eyes. So that's definitely a sign of intelligence. But I had a camera, and I'm trying to open it up with one hand because I love to debunk stuff. I'm pretty skeptical on a lot of stuff. And I just sat there glued staring at it. And by the time I did get my camera open and get it turned on, it had already walked into the woods. So to me, I don't care if anybody believes me or not. I know what I have seen. And I am 99.9% sure it was Bigfoot. What the heck happened over there, Willow?
It's her cat.
Cats went after lizard. Sorry.
You got lizards in there?
Not inside, but I have the light on, and I have a glass on the front door. And the lizards like to hang out with the light because they're catching bugs.
Ish. I'm sorry. I love being in northern Minnesota where we don't have lizards hanging off of the windows. Yeah, okay. I'm
hey,
weird.
One went with me today to the bank on my car.
I love it.
Yep. I looked over, and here he is hanging out on the windshield wiper. I'm like, dude, you're going to fly off when we take off. And he just got back underneath the hood, and we went home.
So I want to say something. So Jerry, as Jerry's talking about this story about the Bigfoot, V, do you believe in Bigfoot?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I thought first for some odd reason, I thought you didn't. For some odd reason.
No, I just thought it was funny that somebody said it could have been Bullwinkle.
Oh!
Oh, yeah, somebody in the...
That was Kat. I think it was Kat who said that. Yeah, it was Kat who said
I thought that was pretty funny. So I was like, But, no, I'm definitely a Bigfoot believer. Not only have I had much encouragement and have been guided by my friend here, Rachel, who has really shown me everything that I really need to know.
And everything you didn't need to know.
Yes, exactly. But I don't understand why so many people have a hard time thinking that would exist. You know? I mean, I understand some people are like, oh, well, like, we haven't found any remains. It's like, these are the ultimate hermits.
Right.
Okay? Like, if they wanted to really make themselves presently known, they would.
Yes.
But, like, it's like, let them do their thing. They're not bothering anybody.
Right.
And, like, they're probably, like, just, like, observing us, like, these crazy people, probably reading about us in Bigfoot Times,
Right. Well, I think it's just really magical that they were to find out that Bigfoot is really named Daryl. I like that.
Oh my gosh!
Wait, I thought he was named Pete.
It was on TV. What? It's fake news?
I was thinking that he was probably like.
Oh, we can't hear somebody again. Must be V.
I was thinking that he'd have a name like Larry.
Like Larry.
Larry.
I love it.
She's from out east. I love that little cute accent.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Okay, so we got the Bigfoot and all that other stuff out of here. Now, let's go back to Mara. Willow, do you got a question for Mara? The other two are stealing the show.
Yeah, let's talk aliens. Okay, let's just go back to the alien subject. Okay, I love aliens. Next to true crime and serial killers and Bigfoot, I love aliens. Okay, have you ever had your own encounter with aliens?
No, I have not had an encounter with aliens.
Have you seen any UFOs?
I have not seen any UFOs.
Do you go outside?
I do.
She doesn't. Don't listen to her.
I do. I'm just very oblivious. I'll not notice anything big happening, but then oh, there's a squirrel in the tree. Feel like.
Gotcha. Well, we do have a question here from a listener, Sherry, in the chat room. She says, what do they, meaning you guys, think about astral why can't I say that?
Astral.
Projection and remote viewing. And who wants to take it?
Sorry, it glitched there for a second. But I definitely think I know that he and I are both we're both empaths. So her and I have talked about this multiple times about how sometimes we have very weird dreams where we feel like we might unintentionally be astral projecting. But also Mara and I, because we're sisters, sometimes her, my other sister, and I will all have the same dream. So I don't know if that's kind of like connected, because we're all sisters and we have that like sisterly intuition where we all can be like in the same dream at the same time. I'm not sure if that's really what she was talking about, so I apologize if I am not hip enough to. I'm not really.
Willow, tell her
explain.
what
All right.
Yeah.
So an astral projection. No, I can't say it. See, Jerry, what you've done to me. Really, what it is when your spirit leaves your body. It's still tethered to the body. You haven't died, but it leaves the body, and you can go to other locations, or you might go to your friend's house and check out what's going on. So that is part of it. And remote viewing is not really leaving your body, but being able to see with the mind's eye a different location and being able to describe it specifically while somebody else is already there seeing the location, and they can report back that, yeah, you're seeing it exactly. So those are the two as a definition.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I've never personally experienced anything. I don't know, Mar, have you?
I don't believe I have, but I am aware of astral projection. I've seen videos of people's experiences, so I do believe it's a real thing. And that was one of the things that they also uncovered along with the UFOs was astral projection. So,
gotcha. What about you, V?
I actually recently have been having some situations where I think a friend of mine is astral dreaming to me at night, and it's been very, very interesting. I actually was even talking to Rachel about this, and we have a friend who does some remote viewing. In a sense, he's very, very, very intuitive, and he has a very unbelievable clairvoyance to him. So I am a firm believer in astral projection and remote viewing, and I think that astral dreaming is a lot more common too. And I think that people can have a tendency to do it unknowingly sometimes. But I do think that my friend has been astral dreaming to me because he's not speaking English, but it's like he shows up at my house and he's just hanging out and just enjoying himself and, talking away. And I've been trying to learn Italian, so I'm trying to figure out what he's saying to me in dreams, but I'll let him know. I'll be like, hey, you came by again the other day. I don't know what you were talking about. I was like, what's on your mind, Ben? He's like, I was dreaming about you too. I was thinking about going over there and stopping all your friends from eating pineapple on pizza.
What? Wait a minute. Wait. Pineapple on pizza is fantastic.
I know, but you don't tell this Italian man from Bologna. He'll be like, oh no, why? It does not go on pizza.
Sure. Wow. Okay. Boy, you know, weird people.
Yeah, that's definitely probably the least you could say about us.
Okay, so we are down to like 5 minutes left. Now, if someone, how do you guys, advertise your team and getting out there and everything? Do you guys have a way that if people in your area are looking for something to be investigated, or tell us about your podcast, where can it be found?
Yes, you can find our podcast anywhere you get your regular podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes. Is that the same thing? I don't know what people use. But yeah, if you look up Three Girls, One Cape, you can find us anywhere. And then we're on Facebook at Three Girls, One Cape. And then we actually are on threegirlsonecape.com, and it's spelled out like the whole way because, of course, we couldn't get lazy with it.
And our Instagram page.
Yep, and Instagram as well. And we try to, do some propaganda, if you will, on our latest episodes because we kind of right now are focusing on New England and a lot of the folklore that has to do with New England urban legends, haunted locations. And then we're going to go back into aliens, and we have a couple conspiracy episodes coming up. So it's going to be, definitely, if you like what you heard, definitely tune in.
Oh, we kind of lost you there.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, I was just saying that if you like what you heard, you can find us at one of those, whether it's website, Facebook, or Instagram.
Okay, awesome. And Instagram, of course, is Three Girls, One Cape.
Yeah, Three Girls, One Cape on Instagram, Facebook. A lot of people have been listening to us on Spotify, but if you go through the Anchor platform, or if you go to the website, you can listen to any platform that you prefer, and you can find all of our episodes there.
Okay. Now, curiosity, you guys have seen the film of, the Patterson film, right? With Bigfoot claiming it's supposed to be the very first one. Is it you thumbs up or thumbs down because it's a hoax? What do you think?
Do we think it is a hoax, or we don't think it's a hoax?
Do you think it's a hoax?
I don't, and I also think that it's a female Bigfoot, and her name is Patty.
Well, yeah, they've already said that. Yeah, they said. But I mean, do you think it's real, or do you think it's something that they screwed up? Go ahead, Mara. Let's get you on there.
Oh, I haven't seen the movie yet, so.
No, it's like the footage, the one of the Bigfoot walking in the. It's
like the old.
Yeah, like the old timey.
Maybe.
What about you, V?
I think that we have better footage found by other investigators more recently that I think solidify.
So do you think it's
a Bigfoot?
It's
that
fake?
One, it's just like, who knows? And that one, I'm really not too sure. It's just like, it could be real, it could be not. But, I think that we do have other things, luckily, like, due to, better advancements in technology, that have been able to come up with more compelling evidence so that, like, you can be like, you know what? Explain that to me.
Okay, so you're saying you're not sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, well, we're actually coming to the end of the show. And ladies, we appreciate all three of you coming on. That was awesome. And Kimberly and Willow, both of you are pretty cool.
Thanks.
You guys were awesome. Don't let him bring you down like that.
Oh, I don't.
And thank you all out there for listening to us, and thank the troops for what you do out there. Para X, you rock. Sarge, you rock est. You're the best. So we appreciate everything, and everybody sit tight, hold on, and check out Geeks Paranormal. We'll see you all next week.